Maybe this is me. Can everyone hear me okay? There she is.
There I am. Okay.
Oh my goodness, how are you?
I'm nervous. How are you?
Oh, don't be nervous, it's just me. It's so good to see you. Before I get started here, I forgot I was out doing something in the yard and I forgot to close the door. Give me just 1 second.
Okay.
All right, that's better.
Okay.
So,
Man, you look great.
oh, thank you very much. So do you. You're
I'm
like,
working on it. I'm a work in progress.
you just get better with age, you know?
Oh yeah, keep thinking that.
Well, you know, I'm gonna tell the story because I think you forgot about this, but I don't know. This was about 12 years ago. You hired me for a gig up in Colorado Springs. I showed up at this gig, and I had literally I'd just gotten home from the doctor's office, and the doctor looked at me and he said, "You know what?" And I was checking in at about 230 pounds, and I had just let my health and my life, I let my career, I let everything take over. And, you know, my idea of breakfast was a double big gulp, you know, it was just horrendous, you know? And it's funny because I used to be this strength in high school. I mean, I was like, I could fit through a chain link fence. I was so skinny. But then, you know, as I started working for the mayor and I started working and doing all these other things, it's just I let my whole lifestyle just go crazy. And I was never a really athletic person. But to tell the story, I show up and you are sitting there just buff, picking up these big speakers and monitors and moving everything around, and you looked incredible. And I said, God, dog, Hazel, what did you do? And you said, go see Brian Barkley. And you turned me on to Brian Barkley, and I was like, what? And he said, oh yeah, he'll get you on the right path.
He's a bomb.
He is, and he was the one who got me training and got me. I'd never picked up weights before. I'd never run or done anything that physical. And you know, I was funny because I was telling him first. I remember the first meeting. I told him, I said, you know, I'm kind of a MapQuest guy. You just kind of show me where to go and then I'll go and do it. And he laughed and laughed and he said, it doesn't work that way when you're getting in shape. He says, because you're dealing with a lot of mind stuff. You're dealing with a whole bunch of other things that you got to deal with. But I stuck with it. I got down to about 185, which is where I'm at now. It's my healthy weight.
Wow.
And a year later, Hazel, I ran the Chicago Marathon.
I heard that, and I remember I wanted to ask you about it, and I never remembered to ask you, but yeah. I heard you did really well.
Yeah, I did. I did it in like 4 hours and 10 minutes or something, and it was just. I mean, and the thing is that was just like the thing that I did, but my whole life changed as a result of getting in shape. I mean, it taught me what I was really truly capable of. You know, I mean, it taught me really about who I was and what I needed to do in my life. And it didn't just, I mean, it translated to a lot of things in my life, not just health, but that health thing was the thing that kicked it off. So I have you to thank you for that, because you turned me on and it literally changed my life.
Do you know he closed his gym?
I know. He's out there, he's selling cars. He's being very successful.
And he loves it. He said he loves it. But I wish to goodness I could find another person like him. But I've tried a couple other people, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, I know. I go to this gym up here in Greenwood Village, and then obviously it all got shut down. But I tell you, my wife and I, we have created this circuit out in our backyard, and so we encourage and motivate each other every day. We get out there, and I got the battle ropes and I got the weights and everything, and we're running around the neighborhood. Neighbors look at us like we're crazy, but you know, it's keeping us sane. So now, okay,
I'm digging up my whole garden and moving things around, so I'm pretty sore.
Yeah, well, I tell you, you know, it's funny because people are getting in shape while they're at home.
Isn't it amazing? I see my neighbors, they're walking constantly or running or biking. So one of my things today is I'm gonna get my big fat tire bike out and go have it do the tune up so I can
Oh
ride it the
yeah,
rest of the summer.
yeah. They said that weights are sold out. You can't buy any weights. Like you go to like Dick's Sporting Good or something, or even online, they're like back ordered because people they've just completely they're
They're
buying,
gone.
getting in
They're
shape, which
gone.
is a good thing.
But man, I found mine when I was cleaning out my storage space. That's what I did the first 2 weeks of quarantine.
Oh yeah,
Found my weights.
that's
Who
awesome.
knew?
I know. Well, I usually go to the gym and all my weights were gathering dust downstairs. And I was joking with Christine. I'm like, boy, we found our jump rope. I mean, just,
I
it's
did.
just,
I found my grandson's jump rope.
yeah.
He plays football, and
Oh,
this is
yeah.
his first year in college, and he's going to be playing football. And I asked him, "Could I have it?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm sure they'll have one in Arizona."
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
But I
Well,
got to ask you a question before
oh,
we
sure.
start the interview.
Yeah.
To start the interview, why in the world are you interviewing me?
Oh, you are you're so inspiring, Hazel. And I tell you
Uh,
what, you're Denver doesn't have a lot of famous people, but you're one of them. So to me, this is a big get. I mean, you I've known you for a long time. I've been fascinated by your story. I love the fact that you hang out with other famous people. And I'll tell you the other thing is that right now there's a lot of people who are out of work
yeah.
and they're trying to reinvent themselves. They're trying to realign, recalibrate. And it was funny. A couple of years ago, they started talking about the gig economy, and I'm like, the gig economy. I said, we've been doing gigs all of our lives. I mean, this is nothing new to us, but they made it sound like it's this new huge thing. But the fact of the matter is, you're a successful gig employee. I mean, you really are. And
I've been doing this for 50 years. And
50 years.
it's embarrassing to admit that, but right
I'm, I'm,
now I
oh,
get
to be
calls.
embarrassed, that's fantastic.
I'm reinventing the band. We our new normal is we are a virtual band for all occasions. We went in the studio last Tuesday and we recorded 6 songs
Wow.
as our audition. And right now I have about 6 virtual concert gigs.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I'm you have to embrace the new normal. I am not a techie person, but I am slowly but surely learning.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
I
don't
think
have a
that's true for
choice.
everybody. I mean, I never even knew what Zoom was until this thing happened. Now I use it every day. Well,
Dana,
let me ask you some questions because I don't want to get ahead
okay,
of myself. Um,
okay.
as I was preparing for this interview, I came across a video and you were singing at Red Rocks with Big Head Todd and the Monsters. And you were singing, it was a song called It's All Right.
Oh yeah,
Now, these guys are as good as it gets. I mean, let's just,
they are. They
they're,
really,
they're,
and
they're
they're the
amazing.
nicest young men ever.
I always just love listening to them. I mean, they're magical. But there's a moment in the song, and Todd walks away from the microphone, and you sing these unworldly notes in a good way. That I'm telling you that even over YouTube, the energy that ignited in that crowd translated 3 years later onto YouTube. It gave me chills. I actually started getting tears in my eyes. I was like so moved by that moment in that song. It was nuts. The crowd, and you feel the crowd just like all of a sudden, it's like you're levitating off the ground. It's just this amazing moment. So here's my question. I know what it felt like to hear that, but what did it feel like to be in the moment when you're singing that at Red Rocks and that crowd is just with you? What does that feel like?
It has to be what heaven is.
Right.
I it's the closest I'm ever going to get to being Aretha Franklin. I walk out and it's quiet and the song starts and Todd will always look over and smile and then it starts and we get to that point in the middle. He gives me it's about a 20-second solo and the place just like you could drop a pin and then all of a sudden it just erupts into
Oh, he
cheering and
was
people are calling my name, and when it's over, I'll always look over at him and he's always smiling at me. And it's an amazing person who is the star of the show who will give you a chance to do that.
yeah.
A
Well,
lot of people, you're just the backup singer, stand in front of the mic and don't sing till I tell you to.
well, you're smart. You are smart, and no, I'm sorry. He is smart to have you there because
Well, thank you.
the the best leaders are the ones who surround themselves with people that lift them up. And I mean he could do that. He could do that show by himself, and people
Oh yeah.
would sell out and everything. But he lifted the whole band up by having you on stage. It was really amazing. Okay, let me ask you something else now. I ask this of everybody. We've all had different degrees of challenges in our lives. I mean, it could have been health, it could have been career, relationships, finances, whatever. And there's always a special trigger that we personally we access. It's personal, it's different for everybody, but it helps us to find a path forward. We're facing really, really difficult times right now. And what is that trigger of yours? Is it faith? Is it experience? Is it family? I mean, what is it that helps you?
I I like people who work from gig to gig. It's the fear of not filling the calendar. When everything went away, I got to admit, I spent a couple of weeks scared to death. And then it hit me. I've been here before, been here a bunch of times. I've had really cool people like Lori Cohen and Michelle Gibson that stepped in and booked the band and kept me going, opened doors for me. And now I've got six bandmates who are saying, okay, Hazel, what do we do now? And I did that. Todd invited me to do a virtual concert on Easter Sunday. And it hit me. We can do this. We just have to find a way to market ourselves. Got my phone book out, started calling every event planner I know, started calling venues, found out all the venues were closed. But there are people out there planning things, doing things, and they want music, live music. So we have found a way to bring them live music. For me, the scariest day in the world is not having a full calendar.
Yeah.
Because I got six other people waiting for me to go online and say, check your calendar. June is full, July is full. All that went away. Everything went away.
Well, so it's hustle. I mean, and you hustle's part of your DNA. It has to be as a working artist, musician.
My mama taught me if it's legal, do it. I have had every job. I used to be a janitor in a mall.
Yeah.
I used to be a plant jockey for Lairs, florist, interior landscaping. I was in a little glass box in a self-service gas station on Spear. I worked for Philip Morris in a cigarette factory. I've had crazy jobs.
Yeah.
But singing is all I've ever wanted to do since I was 8 years old. And at 66, I'm still singing. God has blessed me with an incredible life. I've been everywhere but South America.
Wow.
And Russia. I refuse. I won't go. It's too cold.
Well, so tell me. I mean, what I really enjoy, and I think I saw that video. It was you singing at the Ultra Pultepec, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Was that the video? That was beautiful. That was so.
The one that came out this past January, Todd. They wanted to let their fans know that I was going to be on tour, so they're big. They do a special video every single month, and I was the month of January. And again, what an incredible thing for him to do.
Yeah. Well, my regular gig for the past 18 years is every Thursday night at the Ultra Pultepec with Freddie Rodriguez. And
Freddie.
Yeah. And, I played with him 2 weeks before he passed away.
Can I
And
tell you something?
sure.
The summer of 1985, two ladies and I, we walked into a Friday night at El Chapultepec, and I had on my Larry's uniform. And I went over and asked Freddie Sr., could I sit in? He didn't look at me funny. He didn't treat me strangely. He said, what do you want to sing? And I told him. Um, and he said, okay. And he didn't ask me about my clothes, nothing. When they started the next set, he did one song and I came up and I sang one song. And he said, oh, no, 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 do two. So
Yeah.
we had to fish around for a second song. From that day forward, every time I'd walk in there and Freddie was there, he'd let me sing. I actually sang there every Sunday because of Freddie, because Freddie went to, I can't think of the owner's name. The
Jerry.
little Jerry, he went to Jerry and said, you need her on Sunday nights. And Jerry hired me for 2 years every Sunday. And I got to tell you, I hit the King Supers on the way home. I had 3 boys at home. I hit the King Supers on the way home, spent the whole paycheck, and that kept me going for 2 years. So El Chapultepec has a place in my heart, but you look for me next Thursday. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
still there on Thursdays?
well, we're crossing our fingers. We haven't heard back yet. Freddie had that. He used to play there Thursdays, Fridays, no, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And he was holding a full-time job too. He worked for the state of Colorado.
Yeah,
And
he must have been there 50 years.
he started in 1980. So he was there 40 years.
40 years.
And, my El Chapultepec story, I was in high school. I went to Manual, and me and my buddies, we used to sneak out late at night, and we'd go down and hang out by that door at the markets on Market Street.
Yep.
And it was Javon Jackson, it was Brad Reilly, it was myself. We all played together in high school. And we'd sit out and listen. And, we couldn't get into the club, obviously, because we were just like 17, 16 years old.
Yep.
And, it's one of those things where you put a bunch of pillows into your bed and then you sneak out the window because your parents would never let you go down there. I mean, that was not.
I did that too. My sister was my designated let me back in person.
Yeah, right. And it wasn't low dough then; it was Skid Row. I mean, it was.
Yeah,
there was
it was Skid Row. It was Skid Row.
That was the only thing there was the open. But if the crowd kind of dissipated, it was a small crowd or whatever, he'd come out and he'd say, "Kids, you guys want to sit in?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, of course." And we always, we came in and we'd sit in with the band and those guys, back then Freddie was cool. He was awesome. He
always has been.
But you get up there and Bruno Carr or Nat Yarborough's playing drums, and they had some of those. If you didn't know your shit, and that was their church. I mean, it's like you gotta be there prepared. And if you got lost in a chord, you'd feel a drumstick whacking you on the head. And, I mean, it was. And for young kids,
they had a way of making you feel like you either sink or swim. And if you sink, we're going to let you know.
Yeah.
But the next time you came in, you were better.
That's exactly
they forced you to be better.
That's exactly right. So how is your band doing? I mean,
we are working sort of. We go in and we record the music live. We don't have an audience, but we either do it in a venue when there's no one there but us and the techs, or we go to Colorado Sound, and then the client takes the music and the video of us to their production person, and then they chop it up and put the songs where they need them.
Oh, that's awesome. And what about the wedding gigs? Are those being
wedding gigs? We do we record a jazz set, and then we record like 2 sets of dance music.
Yeah.
And they will normally, we've only done one really big wedding. But we've got one coming up in August, and we're going to record it 3 weeks before the wedding. She wants a lot of Aretha Franklin. She wants a lot of Motown.
Yeah.
So we're going to record all that first, and then we'll do a jazz set for dinner. Do a dinner.
These are customized to the wedding, right? I mean, it's
right, and
yeah.
they'll plug the songs in where they need them throughout the reception. A gentleman called me yesterday and asked me if I would sing "Happy Birthday" for a friend's 50th birthday coming up in a couple of weeks. And I said, okay. And then he offered to pay me, and I'm like, nah, don't worry about it. I got to thinking about it. That might be a nice, quick little income. So I'm gonna see if there's a way to do that.
Okay, so now here's the thing. How do people who are listening right now contact you if they want to book you for your gigs? If they want to,
that's easy. Go to hazelmiller.biz, and there's 2 phone numbers at the bottom. There's one for me. Can I just say the phone number?
Absolutely. Yeah.
720-979-8638, or call Lori Cohen. She is 303-564-7964. And I asked what happy birthday he thought his friend would want. He said the Stevie Wonder one. That's like falling off a log. That's easy. I've been singing that for 30, 40 years.
Right.
So so it's like people need music in their lives, and I am happy to make that happen for them.
Well, you have put together an incredible band. I mean, your band is amazing. I mean, the Dana Marsh and
Rich Lamb, and Ryan Mikulich. Yeah. I got this kid on guitar that my fans love, Cody Carbone.
Yeah.
And Jeff Nathanson.
Oh yeah, he just got off the road. He traveled all over South America and everywhere.
Oh my God, he's been all over the world. And then I can't leave out Miss Coco Brown.
Oh, Coco Brown's amazing. Yeah.
Coco is one of the most amazing voices. And I can't figure out why she's not famous. I don't understand why she's not a big national star. She has this amazing voice. But this is the best band I've ever had, bar none.
Who does all your arrangements? Who does all your arrangements? Because they're really tight.
We do. We go to rehearsal and we'll play something, and it's like, oh no, that doesn't work for us. Let's go here, here, and here. And we'll run through it, and then we'll play it over and over at the gig, and it takes a minute, and then we'll finally figure it out, and then we have our arrangement.
Well, I tell you, because I mean, I'm serious, and I'm a connoisseur of music, and some of those arrangements you do, they're better than what the original artist did.
Well, we have to change it from the original arrangement, and I think that's why people like us.
Yeah.
Because we don't play a cover tune exactly like the record.
Yeah.
That would be so flippin' boring.
Yeah.
That would be more boring than anything. That would be like being, married.
Well, I mean, you make them more hip. You make them more fun. I mean, I keep telling you. So
where you got 7 people with that many opinions, that many style references, it turns into an amazing. We have great rehearsals. We're sitting in there sweating like pigs, but we come out feeling good about what we did.
Well, it's a testament to you too that you have so much loyalty from these musicians, because those guys, this band has been together a while now. I mean, what?
Yeah, we've been together. The guitar player is the newest guy. He's been with me now. I think this summer will be 6 years.
Wow.
Dana and I have been playing together 40 years. Yeah. Rich and I have been playing together almost somewhere between 25 and 30 years.
Yeah.
Ryan Mikulich, if he ever tries to leave me, I will shoot the tires out from under him.
Well, here's what I like though. I mean, like I'll show up at an event. My wife is all in the community and everything, and I used to be a little bit more when I was working for the mayor and stuff. But I'll show up at an event, and this happened more than once, and you're sitting in the corner by yourself singing. You got hired to sing for yourself. And I love that. I mean, it's terrific, and it sounds so good, and people are just like, and I'm not saying that, I love the fact you do, they should hire the band as well, but I love the fact that you can do that. I mean, that's just really
I do. I can't go anywhere and the music is there, and it's really it's vibing, and it's energetic. I have to sing along.
Yeah,
Even if I don't know the words, I will sit in the corner and scat.
yeah.
If it doesn't move me, I will politely leave on the first break. But
Well, tell me this. So tell me some stories, Hazel. Who you have performed with Mel Torme? You've performed with James Brown. I mean, who are some of the favorites that you've enjoyed performing with?
the nicest gentleman, there, James Taylor, um, say his name. He passed away. You'll never find.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Um,
can't see when you get to be my age, your memory's the first thing to go.
yeah.
For me, it's the big stars that are nice people. Those are the ones that I like. I've worked with some people that were not very friendly and not very nice. And the one person that tops that list was James Brown. And I'm ashamed as no, I'm not. It's the truth. Everybody's ever worked for him knows it. Everybody's ever worked with him knows it. He he's just not, he just wasn't a friendly, nice person. He had a way of making everybody feel like you were under the thumb, do what I say or be gone. And I was one of the last people to open for him here in Denver. Um, because of Big Ed Todd, I've played some of the biggest venues in the country. I've met some of the nicest people. I'm standing backstage one day because Todd asked me to come, and it was only the second time I'd ever sung It's All Right. There was one other Black person backstage, and he and I were sitting talking. It was Jimmy Cliff.
Oh
It
no.
was this little runner came up and said, Mr. Cliff, they're ready for your sound check now. I turned to him and I went, you're Jimmy Cliff? He goes, yeah, and you're Hazel Miller. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been talking to Jimmy Cliff. I
Oh, that's amazing.
had no idea. I had no flipping clue. I've been blessed. I did remember I sang every morning for the TED conferences when they first started.
Oh
I
yeah.
did it for 11 years.
Wow.
Walk
Wow.
out every morning and sing one song a cappella.
Wow.
I've met so many famous people. It was just amazing. But you realize that the nicer they are, those are the ones you remember, and those are the ones you support. The
Well,
ones that are not nice, you kind of, I guess the other person that really hurt my heart because I was such a big fan and I got to meet Gladys Knight and she was very unfriendly. And I
uh,
was very, very surprised because I thought being a Southern girl, she would be really nice, but she wasn't.
I wonder if that is all about people who they become very famous early on and they've never really had to struggle or hustle.
Oh, well, you know what? That could be it, but it still doesn't mean that you get to treat people without fans. We're just singing in our dining room. We're singing in the shower.
That's right.
If you don't treat your fans like they mean something to you, then why are you doing the gig?
Yeah. No, that's true. It's interesting. I had a guest on this on my Zoom interviews last week. He's a Hollywood actor. And he's been in a lot of big movies, but he's a backup actor. I mean, he's one of the guys that hired a billion. He's a SAG guy and all of that.
Ah,
But I started asking him, I'm like, how do you become successful at this? What do you do in Hollywood that, you get the call to come be on this movie? And he said, I'm very realistic. He knows that there's other people that look like him. There's other people that have acting chops that are better than his. He says it really comes down to professionalism. It comes down to, they know they can rely on me, that I will show up with 4 sets of clothes. So if I bring something that someone else is wearing and I have something else to wear, he knows the politics of the set. He knows all the stuff that it takes, and he's become known as this reliable person. I've seen, there's a movie out. If you haven't seen it, I'll send you the link. It's about backup musicians in LA. And these are the guys that, all of the top stars they'll call.
oh yeah.
They're aces, they're ringers, right? But every single one of them that was interviewed said they were like, look, I know there's 20 other guitar players out there that can do what I'm doing. And then
Mhm.
some of them, they do it better than I'm doing. There's other people out there, but the fact is, I show up and I'm prepared. I learn the music. I look the look. I wear the clothes. I'm on time. Just
Yeah, and
and
that's the major thing. I'm on time.
yeah. I mean, that's you know, and I'm sure that your musicians are all professionals. They
They
all
are. They
prepare.
are
They do
wonderful.
what they need to do, and but it's still a business, right? I mean, for you, like I say, I actually had a funny
Do you still get nervous before you play?
sometimes
Oh,
sometimes
I do. I do. I get so nervous. The guys, they think it's funny. I get so nervous. Sometimes, especially if it's a concert, because
yeah,
you want them to like you. You want to go out and do well.
yeah,
And
no,
then if you don't, then they spent their money for nothing.
yeah, I tell you, it took me years to stop beating myself up. Like I'd miss a note or I'd do something and then that would just bother me like the rest of the gig. Everything else would be fine. But then that was like that one song where I screwed up or I missed coming in at the right place or something like that. And I'm just, oh my God, Andrew, how could you do that? So I quit beating myself up about that. It's just like with my website, right? It's like I get lots of messages from people, thanks for finding a job, blah, 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 blah. And it's really gratifying. But then I get this one message, your website sucks. And I'm like, oh
Oh,
man,
and that's the one that stays with you day
yeah.
and night. I just saw something at the bottom of the stage, bottom of the screen, and it's Hanifa. She said that maybe Gladys was having a bad day. And you know what? Maybe she was. Who
Yeah.
knows? Who
Oh,
knows?
it's true. We used to get emails into the mayor's office and just these awful, your mayor, you suck and you didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. And if they were bold enough to leave their phone number, I'd call them. And I'd say, hey, I got this message and I just want to make sure, is there something that we can do? Number one, they're surprised to hear from me. But usually it was, and not all the times, like all of a sudden they'd be like this 80-year-old grandmother. Oh, sweetheart, no, I was just in a bad mood and don't take any. It was pretty funny. Something, but I like I say, I've learned to get over that. I do get nervous. I mean, especially like if I'm playing at Dazzle or if I'm playing a big show where there's a lot of eyeballs on you. It's one thing. I think I hate to say this, but sometimes when I'm down at the El Chapultepec and the crowd is drunk and they're crazy and we have fun and it's a good time, but it's kind of like I feel like I'm mailing it in. It's not like which is terrible attitude to have, and I think sometimes you just kind of
But
feel the way.
sometimes, but you have every once in a blue moon, you have that night.
Yeah,
But they're not all the time, but they do. But they do happen. For
yeah,
me, Denver has been. I was on my way to LA. I thought that I could go out there with my three boys and I could break in.
yeah,
My brother and my ex-brother-in-law got in touch with me and said, "Do not come out here." It was August of '84, and all the gang wars were going on.
oh yeah,
He said, "Hazel, these guys will eat your boys up alive." He said they may not even survive.
yeah,
And I was trapped here because my van broke, the U-Haul truck broke down. And God was trying to tell me something.
yeah,
This is where you belong. Denver has to me, Colorado has blessed me with a career that I hoped for, dreamed about. I've played either in front of. I'm sitting in the audience one day, right before Winter Park Jazz, about a week before, and I didn't think Herbie Hancock would remember me from Ted. He goes, "Hazel, how you doing, girl?" And everybody turned and looked at me, and Lori kicked my foot, and I'm like, "Wow, that hurt." And she goes, "Answer him." I'm like, "I am so fine, Mr. Hancock." He goes, "I was Herbie when you saw me in February." I'm like, "Oh my God." And then Diane Reeves, the greatest living jazz singer in the world, walks out. She goes, "Hi, Hazel." I met her the year before with her mom. I knew her mom. Her
oh,
mom had a secondhand store where I used to buy my youngest son's clothes. And she introduced us.
oh man,
I got to sing one song with Diane Reeves, and
what?
Herbie Hancock was playing piano. Somebody took a picture. I sent the picture to my brother. He was living in Albuquerque. He called me right away. He goes, "You photoshopped this." I said, "No, no, no."
I have a different perspective on this. I think Herbie Hancock is on a Zoom seminar somewhere saying, "One day I saw Hazel Miller and she remembered me."
I was amazed because the second time we worked for the mayor, you came up and started talking to me, and I'm like, because we always called you Andrew Hudson. The 2 words, Andrew Hudson. I'm like, oh my God. Then Dana goes, "You know he plays." I'm like, "Excuse me?" He said he's a bass player. I'm like, "What?" And then I saw you in a band, and I was quite impressed.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm.
And the upright bass is hard.
Yes, it is.
It's hard. You got to hold all that weight and play in time and listen to everything.
Oh, I know. It's you know what, and I haven't been playing it as much as I need to, but yeah, I'm a professional musician, little P. You're big professional.
Well, see, the weird thing is, when I came out here, the union wouldn't let me join because I didn't play anything.
Oh, that's hilarious! I can't believe it. Well, let me ask you something, because you know, being an artist, singing in particular, that's a personal talent. It's fun, it's creative, it's satisfying, but it is also work.
It is hard work.
And work means business. And business means recognizing that if you have something to offer the world that is of value, that there is a price tag that should be attached to it. And at what point did you realize you could make a career out of singing?
I was in a band when I was a junior in high school, and we opened for James Brown at a place in Louisville, Kentucky, called the Club Louisvillian. It used to be a bowling alley, and they turned it into a club, a nightclub. And we made $50 cash. I thought I was rich.
Right.
I was like, oh my stars, I got $50. And when my mother finally found out that I was sneaking out the window to go sing it on the weekends, she said, "Well, why do you do this?" And I went up to my room and got my box and showed her the box with the money in it. And she's like, "Okay, how much do you have?" And I said, "I don't know." She said, "What are you going to do with it?" I said, "Buy school clothes, buy shoes." She goes, "Okay."
Yeah. Well,
she let me do it.
yeah.
I was 16, 17 years old. I thought, I can do this. I want to do this. I remember seeing Ella Fitzgerald and Barbara Streisand and say her name, all these incredible solo female vocalists on Ed Sullivan.
Oh yeah.
And we'd sit every Sunday, the whole family, we'd sit and watch Ed Sullivan. I thought, I can do this. I saw Patsy Cline sing Crazy in front of this enormous orchestra on Ed Sullivan. I was blown away.
Yeah.
I never to do, and I've been blessed enough that God let me do it.
Yeah.
I just came off the road with Todd. We left in January, got back in the first week in March, went into quarantine. We've been off, 10, 12 weeks now?
Yeah.
And I've got jobs on the calendar. I'm happy about it. I can't say that anything horrible has happened to me in this quarantine.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that true? It's true. I mean, I'm not trying to minimize what, I've known people that have died. That's horrible.
Yeah, Freddie, we lost Freddie.
All those Ellis Marsalis, Wallace Roney. I mean, all those great jazz musicians that have passed as a result of all this. But it's also it's strange because it's like, I work from home. I've got my wife and I've got my 2 kids hanging out with me.
Yeah.
We have a deeper relationship just living together where, she's not leaving at 6 a.m. and coming back at 6 p.m. and we see each other and we plan. I mean, all those kinds of things that we forget about, that just, it makes it really, it's a very different, and I'm convinced God wrote a comma. He didn't write a period. So this is a comma, we're we're gonna move on, and we're gonna be resilient. We're gonna figure this all out. Let me ask
We
you.
have a new normal. We have a new normal.
Yeah. And we still don't even know what the new normal is going to be. We're still figuring
Oh,
it out.
a
You know?
year from now, we will still be adapting and changing, but we will adapt. We will change.
And I don't think that the future of live music is.
Oh, it's not over. It
People
can't
are,
be.
they're coming to Red Rocks. They're coming to the clubs. I mean, and it's just that yearning to escape through music and through art that we all love so much. But let me ask you this, because I want to make sure I get this in there. I was telling you earlier, I started hearing about the gig economy, and I was like, what? I've been living in this gig economy for a long time. And I mean, gigs to musicians, they're hand to mouth things that musicians do, but it's their profession and they work. And you've taken the gig economy to a whole different level. And I know a lot of people that are out there listening are saying, okay, you know what? I don't want to go back and find my full-time job. I want to do gigs. I want to do projects. I want to do work for myself. And at what point did you realize you needed to take control of your own destiny and start your own booking agency? And I know Mel and I know your bookers, and they're incredible people, and but the music business it's rough. It's rough and tumble. It's hard, and
It's hard, but if I found I started working as a full-time singer when I was 26, 27. I never fit into day jobs. They're okay for a little while, and then I don't fit in. I didn't have the same thought process. I didn't fit in. So I figured if I've got two small kids, if I do this, I have to keep working because I can't let them down. And God knew that. So he gave me a reason, a tangible reason to get out there and hustle. My mom taught me, I've had a job since I was 15 years old. My mother taught me to hustle because if you want something in life, you can't take it from somebody else. You got to make some money. You got to do this on your own.
yeah,
So I did that, and I got help along the way. Once I got out here, being at Todd and the Monsters, they let me sing with them at Red Rocks in the summer of 1996. And all I did was walk out and sing the backup to It's All Right. And that appearance, that performance took me from the B circuit to the A circuit and beyond,
yeah,
because they were one of the biggest names in the country.
yeah.
And the fact that they asked me to do that, and I said, guys, do you guys know I'm 47? And they're like, we don't care. We just want you to walk out there and do what you do. I'm like, well, okay. And I've been building on it ever since. And before that, incredible musicians like yourself, Dana would pick up the phone and call you guys, and we would put something together, sometimes with maybe a couple of hours of rehearsal,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we get through the night and find out we had a great time.
yeah, yeah.
So I've been blessed. I cannot say enough to these young people who call me, and everybody has my number. They call me and they say, Miss Miller, what do I do about this? What do I do about that? I open up the phone book and say, call this person, say Hazel told you to call and you'd like to audition. They'll call me back and say, I got the audition, we got a gig. You have to share it. If you don't, what is the point?
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not going to
is
be
it
here
still a
forever.
hustle for you? I mean, people, you're so well known now that people are calling you, and you're having to. Is it still a hustle? Or is it?
Yeah, it's still a hustle. You have to be careful not to get in the rut of playing the same gigs. So this summer, Lori and we started way back in November calling different festivals, different event planners than we normally call, and but we realized that it is possible to switch sections in the middle of the stream. So with that said, and those jobs, even though I knew there was nothing that could stop me if I decide to keep moving forward. Don't look back, don't look to the side, just keep moving forward.
You know, one
What
of
else
the
can you do?
one of the things that I found even when I started my website and I became an entrepreneur 11 years ago, one of the things that was, and I found this with other entrepreneurs too, and I found this with musicians as well, is they're afraid to ask for money. They're afraid to they're afraid to recognize the value of what
Yeah,
they have to offer. Like I'll tell you the story. I had run my website for 10 years prior to making it my full-time business, and it was free. It was just a pay it forward thing. I was working at Frontier Airlines. I was doing other things and playing and stuff, but it was just kind of like an aw shucks, you know. I've got this access to thousands of people, and I can connect companies and so forth. But I was always scared about turning it into a business. And even though my competitors, LinkedIn, Indeed, and everybody else, they're making, hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars doing what I'm doing. And companies were coming to me. So I built up a lot of sweat equity in doing what I'm doing. But then I
yes.
decided to flip the switch and I started charging. And I was scared to death. I was like, am I going to ruin the whole thing by now making it a business? And I told myself, if this works out, I'm going to quit my job in 3 months and I'm going to put all my energy, my talent, my creativity, everything into it. Hazel, I quit my job in 3 days.
See,
It was
you know
so
what?
automatic. And what the interesting part about that story is that value is credibility. So
Yes.
like you can put an old couch on the front yard and say free to takers, and it'll sit there for a week. You change that sign and it says couch $75, it'll get stolen overnight
Mhm.
because the price tag itself is part of the credibility of it. But
Makes that person walking by want it.
yeah, and people, I talk to entrepreneurs all the time who are like, you know what, I don't know, I should just do this for free because it'll give me exposure. And I tell them, I said, people die of exposure, you know, and but it gets to a point, and I think when you're particularly when you have to pay your bills, it gets easier to turn down people who are not going to pay. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you could tell horror stories just like I
Well,
can
see, the
about
people, there's people like Lori Cohen, Mel Gibson, who were there for me, who helped guide me and move me
Mhm.
from playing clubs to playing concerts. When I announced to the band, when I was Hazel Miller and the Caucasians, and I announced to the band that we were going to stop doing clubs, they looked at me like I'd lost my mind.
Yeah,
And didn't, I have to admit that I didn't miss a step in front of them. Driving home, I was scared to death. But I realized that if I did not make that step forward, the band would always be working for 50, 75, maybe $100 a night.
yeah,
We were worth more than that. And that's when I got on in the phone book and found event planners. I didn't even know what an event planner was, but Lori knew. And then when Lori was gone, I had Mel and I were together for years. She had all kind of contacts. And Mel took me to another level.
yeah.
And the thing you have to remember is the thing that I learned from Mel and Lori is that Lori calls me Miller. She says, Miller, if we go at a cheap price, they're thinking they're going to get a cheap band and they're going to go with somebody else that that they think is better because the price is higher.
Yeah,
I try to keep my prices in a range where they're affordable, but we're making real money.
yeah,
The hardest thing right now for everybody is there's a lady just wrote in, Shirley Green, about being denied gig unemployment. Well, Shirley, don't feel bad. I was accepted by unemployment, and I, to this day, about 5 weeks later, I haven't gotten a dime. So that's something I kind of expected. So what you got to do for everybody that's out there looking to make a living in this economy, find what makes you special. Shirley, if you're great at singing for churches, start calling churches, record yourself singing songs, send it to the churches, send it from your phone, and do a virtual appearance at their church for $100,
Yeah.
$150.
And isn't that empowering too? I mean,
It is.
I asked that question to people. I said, "What are you good at?" And they look at me, and I haven't been asked that in a long time. And it's not what do you do for a living, because what you do
No,
for a
what are
living,
you good at?
you might be a robot, or you might be, just doing what is required to get that rent. But what are you good at, and what do you enjoy, and how do you turn that into a career? And is it and also, if you're good at it, then I'm sure there's value attached to it as well.
It is. There's value in it, and you have to monetize that value. There is a young man that I met quite by accident years and years ago. His name is Matt Stevie. Matt put together my first website, hazelmiller.com, in trade for me going all the way to Iowa to sing at his wedding.
Wow, that's great.
And he has serviced this website. He's put together this incredible calendar, and all this stuff for me out of friendship. We've been friends that long. There's a lady in town, Cheryl Renee, who's one of the most amazing voices you have ever heard.
Yeah, I know Cheryl, and her brother Skip.
Yeah, Skip, the singing drummer.
He's awesome.
But Cheryl has a knowledge of tech that is quite amazing.
Yeah.
She builds websites for people. I always recommend her to a young artist because I know she's reasonable, and I know that she will give them what they're looking for. Everybody has to find a way to showcase what they do best. Make that element of your performance, of your identity as a performer. Highlight that, make it shine.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
This is what I do for a living. And my website, I've got songs on there. I used to have a famous picture page, and I got to go back to it because people are asking me to put it back up. Everything from, I have pictures of me from Herbie Hancock and Diane Reeves, all the way to the gentleman who came up with the vaccine for polio.
Oh yeah, Jonas Salk.
Jonas, I met him at TED, and they asked me to sing him happy birthday. And he was turning 75 or 80. And this was like 12 years ago. And wow. He hugged me so hard. It was so lovely. And then they told me who he was. And I'm like, oh, my stars.
Yeah. Oh, my stars. And I mean, he saved generations of children. I mean, it's amazing to think.
Millions of lives.
Yeah.
But what we don't realize, especially some of these youngsters, you have to see yourself as a commodity.
Yeah.
And if you can't market that commodity, then sit down, figure out why. And once you figure out why, it's one of three things. Do you have enough faith in yourself? Do you have enough courage to ask the price you think you need? Start high, have a room to negotiate. But the third thing, and the most important thing, is, am I putting enough faith in myself to be successful?
Yeah, it's true. I tell job seekers all the time that you are a product in the marketplace of job seekers. Mm-hmm. And as a product, you are selling yourself, and you have to have the confidence that's going to persuade somebody that you have what the value that they require for the job, but you also have to create a brand about yourself, and being able to talk about yourself and all those touch points that you have to persuade people of the value that you bring to them, whether it's the resume, the cover letter, the interviews, the LinkedIn profiles, all the things that are available to you to be able to do that. Did you find when you started doing the business on your own, was that intimidating? Was it hard?
No, I'd always done business on my own before I moved out here. And I got to tell you, having someone like Lori or Mel Gibson, the hardest part was letting them do it and get out of their way. And both of them will tell you that I had a hard time with that because I was always calling and meddling. But the hard part about working for yourself is getting up every day and actually doing it. Set aside this time from like 10 in the morning, 9 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and every single day. And in the meantime, you got to get all your personal stuff done while you're getting business done.
Yeah.
Because for me, I had 3 kids to feed, 3 boys. When I moved out here, they were 6, 12, and 18. Now, the 18-year-old was not my son, but he was my son. You know what I mean? He had lived with me for years and he was mine. So you have to have a reason to get up and get moving. You had a reason.
Yeah.
You had a reason.
Yeah.
Your music was your baby until you had babies.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's true. I mean, I tell that to job seekers too. Every single day, you have to set your time aside. And on top of that, and I love what you're saying about how you go down different roads for your business. Don't just send jobs or don't just send resumes onto job boards.
Mm-hmm.
Make phone calls. If you see a company online that you're interested in, look them up.
Look them up.
Talk to people. Don't just expect that sending out a resume on a job board where there's thousands of others that are sending their resumes in is the thing that's going to get you noticed. I mean, it is a hustle. It's a full contact sport, and it's the same thing with musicians. I mean, I'll tell you the other story that we ought to do on here is about Big Head Todd and the Monsters. I mean, because when I was in college at CU, every Monday I had a band, and we would play Monday Night Madness at this place called the Walrus.
Oh, yeah.
And there was this band called Joint Effort, and it was just a fun party band. And, and it was one of those things that lasted about, 14 months, and then it kind of fizzled out and all that. But we played there on Monday nights, and on Tuesday nights, there was this other band that played that was just coming up, and they were called Big Head Todd and the Monsters. And those 3 guys, the 3 core members, I mean, they started that band in high school.
Yeah,
40 years later, and even as big as they get, I mean, the story is, well, okay, they had a couple good hits and then they kind of fizzled away.
No, they are still traveling.
Oh, yeah.
They're on the road. They're on the road at least 7, 8 months a year. They are out there. They have a cult following from coast to coast, and I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's, and it's good music. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's good music.
It's good music.
And
it's toe tapping, dancing music, and it doesn't get any better than that.
No, and it makes you feel good inside. I mean, and like I said, I mean, there's one of the smartest things I think they did is bring you on board because.
The first time I met them was at the Walrus.
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
Oh, wait a minute. No. What's the one that was across the street from the Walrus? It had that really nice big wooden maple bar. Now it's a steak place.
Was an old Chicago or JJ McCabe's or
JJ McCabe's.
Yeah. Okay.
We used to do. We were Hazel Miller. It was Rich Relations featuring Hazel Miller. Joe Tripp was the leader of the band. The owner asked us, would we mind letting this young man sit in between our sets on a Friday night? So for sound check, he needed to go first. And this tall Asian kid, look, he was so skinny, he could yo-yo hula hoop in a Cheerio. He was just a skinny kid, and there were 2 guys with him. They set up, and I looked at Joe and I said, I wonder what he's going to do. And he started playing these blues riffs on the guitar, and I'm like, no, this kid is not going to play blues. Not only did he play it, he sang it with authenticity, with heart, with soul.
Yeah. I
found out from the bartender, who was a friend of theirs, that they were called Big Head Todd and the Monsters. And I'm like, crazy name, great singer, great guitar player. And I still had not met Rob and Brian. because he played his little 15-minute set and then he tore down and everybody loved him and he left. And it was like a year later, I saw them playing on the mall in Boulder, and I'm like, Joe, that's that guy. That's that guy. And 5 years later, they were doing this huge CD release party, and I got a call that said, Hazel, have you heard Todd's song, It's All Right? I said, yeah, that girl is really good. It's some girl from Minneapolis. She was Prince. They did it at Prince's studio. He said, can you sing it? Can you learn it in 2 days? I'm like, yeah, it was really easy. They sent me a CD in a cab. I had 2 days to learn it. I showed up at the Boulder Theater. I went backstage. We didn't rehearse it. Brian walked me through it, the drummer. And I walked out and Chuck Morris was like, she's not the singer for you guys. What is the deal with this? Your fans won't like her. And I went out and I started singing and I started to ad-lib a little at the end. And I look over and Todd's like, go. So I went and everything just took off. And
oh, that's a great story.
That's my signature song with them. It's All Right. And people wait on it we cannot do a show and not do that song.
Oh, well, I can understand why. Like I say, I mean, people, you levitate. I seriously, it's like Red Rocks, like shoots up into the sky. I mean, it was an incredible thing. Hey, you know what? I gotta end this because
we're out of time.
We're out of time. I want everyone to know that Hazel did this amazing benefit for Hunger Free Colorado last week.
Yes.
And my wife and I are going to make a contribution because that's such an important organization these times. And I think you can still go to Hazel Miller's Facebook.
Go to the Facebook and the little buttons. You can still find it. You got to scroll a little, but it's still there.
Yeah, and also she sang for an entire 2 hours just by yourself in your living room. It was fantastic. It's really something special. And
me and my karaoke tracks.
Yeah. Well, it was great. It was just really something, and it says a lot about you that you would go out of your way to do that. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for being my guest. I mean,
thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you.
We could go on for another 2 hours. I mean,
oh no. But make me a promise. When we can, we will work together.
Oh, I absolutely will. You know, I was gonna. The one thing I didn't do during this seminar, and maybe that's why I'll invite you to come back, is I wanted to hear you sing "Summertime." We'll do it another time.
We do it reggae.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's awesome. For everyone out there listening, you can communicate with Hazel on her Facebook page. She's awesome. She's got information about gigs. You can go to hazelmiller.com. And then also
hazelmiller.biz.
.biz, right? That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I did. Yeah, that's right. And then also, just as a housekeeping thing, next Wednesday, I'm going to have Scott Horsley be my guest. Scott Horsley went to Manual with me, and he has been the White House correspondent for National Public Radio for the past 15 years. He's now their chief economics reporter. And he's a wonderful guy, just a terrific guy. And he'll tell stories and also talk about, you know, his
and he's
ideas.
Smart as hell.
Smart as hell. And
he is smart.
Oh, I mean, I know if you listen to NPR, you hear him on about every day because
he's the guy I listen to because he shoots straight and he's honest. He's terribly, brutally honest. And that's what, when you work for yourself, you need to know what's actually going on.
That's exactly
right.
Andrew,
I have to thank you. My grandkids think I'm so cool. I'm on your show today.
Well, you know what? I'm lucky. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have an 8 and a 10-year-old that are at home right now, and they didn't interrupt me once this entire time. They're very good. They're very good. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for everyone for attending. This will be recorded, and it'll be on my YouTube station, and it'll also, you can watch it or pass it along on my Facebook page because it's on Facebook page. It's on Facebook Live right now. So again, thank you so much. We'll catch up.
Thank you. Okay? Thank you. Bye, everybody. See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
There it goes. Okay. Quit Zoom.